visuals and welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another film review, spoiler-free film review. We've just gone to watch our first viewing of The Marvels, and we'll be talking heavy about it either this week's podcast or next week. There'll be a more in-depth review in the next week or so, but this is the spoiler-free review. It's The Marvels. It is out today. We went and watched it, as well as the season finale of Loki, which was... But again, we'll get into detail in that in the podcast, but visuals. Are we ready? Spoiler-free review, here we go. Marvel sees the return of our beloved, marvellous heroes. We've got Carol Danvers, Captain America. We've got Kamala Khan, Miss Marvel. And we've got Monica Rambeau, all back, ready to pack a few cosmic punches. There's quite a few little build-ups there. You see what I did there? Bit of a smarty boy. It's returning characters, been in a new gang. It was great. It was so awesome to see the return of Kamala Khan, who I'm going to say straight away, and I think most people would probably agree with this. She's the MVP of the film. She is outstanding. Now, not necessarily saying in terms like power and stuff, but fucking Kamala Khan is outstanding. Miss Marvel is amazing. I loved her in the show. Ima Valan, I probably said your name wrong there, I'm sorry. But I've completely fallen in love with her. I think she's done such a fantastic and amazing job as Miss Marvel and Kamala Khan. The way that she is in this film in terms of using her powers, the heart of the film, the comedic relief, the way that she interacts and balances and goes between like the Fury or Monica or Captain Marvel or even her family. Her family are amazing in this. It's just hard not to fall in love with her. She does such a great job, and I think everybody, if you haven't seen the show, I think they'll come out of the film going, she was fucking awesome. No, for me, she was the MVP. Monica Rambeau was still awesome. We didn't get to see as much of her lately because we had it from WandaVision and then that's it. But obviously at the end of WandaVision, we see Nick Fury approach her and whatnot. And she's awesome. She's a bit more flushed out in this. You get to see a bit more of the brainier sort of side, the thinker behind of it all. You know, the real sort of, well, she wasn't an army woman, was she? She was like, you know, agent, whatever. But you get to see a bit more front and center, because even though she was a somewhat important part of WandaVision, she wasn't as, like I said, it was Wanda and it was Vision. But for this, we get to see who Monica Rambeau is a bit more, what gets a ticker, what gets a going and stuff. And again, she's just awesome. Ready for your third awesome? It's Captain Marvel. Now, I've been a little bit critical of Brie Larson, somewhat. I don't know, there's been certain things that you're a bit like, what the fuck's going on? And you hear certain things, but it might just be rumours and bullshit, I don't know. But I was very critical of the first Captain Marvel film. I thought, it was okay, it lacked this, it lacked that. I didn't really enjoy the way that they adapted the comic book origin story into this one. It was a little bit hit and miss for me. But then I fell in love with her a little bit more for the Avengers stuff that we got her in. But this is definitely the best of Brie Larson's Carol Danvers we've seen. We see more of the... human side of it. She lets go. Well, she definitely lets go. This is definitely the most comedic we've seen her, and the most, because the situations all three women find themselves in, you know, with the power swapping and the dynamics between all of them and how it's all going forward and whatnot. You definitely see a more loose Carol Danvers. But this one, like I said, it's a little bit more human. The first time we got to see it was a little bit robotic, and it was, I don't know, it didn't flush her out enough and who she is and what she wants to do and how she's feeling. Whereas this one, it sort of lets you slow down a sec and be like, even though I think this is one of the shortest Marvel films we've had in recent years. I'm fairly certain it is anyway. If I've heard that wrong, correct me in the comments. But it does let you stop for a split second, say, okay, this is who she is, this is where her head's at, this is how she's feeling. Because a lot of it's dealing with the effects of the Kree Civil War and stuff, and obviously she had certain parts of it to do with it and whatnot. So it's a lot of her backstory sort of coming back to haunt her. And to see her a bit more flushed out was much appreciated. Dar-Ben is probably... I don't want to be too harsh because, right, if you know who, if you ever watch Fresh Meat with Jack White and stuff, you'll know that she's in this. And I swear I saw a picture saying she's married to Tom Hiddleston. Again, correct me if that's not right, but that's just mental. I'm like, oh my God, I didn't realise she was married and whatnot. But anyway, so I love Vod in Fresh Meat. She is one of the standout components. But it's not so much her acting. I know her name's not Vod in real life. I can't remember her real name. And it's her acting and stuff's great. But they didn't... it was kind of like early stage MCU villains where they weren't as well developed, or because the justification and the reason why she's being a big bad villain is understandable and you get it, but it was delivered to us a little bit lackluster. She kind of just sort of, okay, we need a villain. Who should we do? There was some Kree stuff. We'll have her. Away we go. And I don't know. I think they could have put a bit more stock into her. Like I said, the performance by Vod, I got to stop calling her Vod, wasn't by any means awful. She was awesome, and I am a little bit biased because I love her from Fresh Meat. But I just think the character and how she was written of Ben was a little bit lackluster. It's my biggest negative from the film. There was a lot of negativity going into the film, wasn't there, beforehand? Because everyone was saying, oh, it's got less pre-sales, it's doing worse than Black Adam and The Flash. I think it was the two worst DC ones for pre-sales. The early reviewers were saying the CGI is a bit shoddy and whatnot. And to be honest, I didn't get any of that. I had one of the best Marvel experiences I've had in terms of fun. It was absolutely enjoyable. Like I said, the dynamic and the relationship between the three main women and stuff, and then back to Kamala's family, and Sam Jackson's Nick Fury. There again, it's always, for me anyway, I might just be being biased, or I don't know, I might just be too over-optimistic about this. It's hard for me not to love Sam Jackson. It's hard for me not to love Nick Fury. Combine the two. Whenever we get him in any way, shape or form, I love it. I had so many moments where I laughed at. Of course, we get to, not far off, we get to just go straight back to where Miss Marvel ended and whatnot. And seeing that how it will play out, and, you know, who's Kamala and stuff, and who are you, and the Krees coming into Kamala's house. It was honestly some of the best fun you'll have in a Marvel film, with its somewhat serious elements every now and then, when it comes to terms with Carol and stuff, and how it sets up for the future. I will say now as well, I won't say what they are. There's two post-credit scenes. One of them's absolutely amazing, and one of them's like, oh snap, we heard rumours of a certain actor reprising a role they once had, how do I say this without spoiling it, from an older film where there maybe wasn't enough justice done upon their portrayal of a certain character, so it gets brought back in. We'll talk post-credit scenes in the podcast, but yes, going forward, there's a bright future for Kamala, for Carol, for Monica, and it's fucking awesome. Gonna get onto the effects, wasn't I? I know, again, sorry, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. I know, was it originally this was supposed to be Quantumania's release date, and Quantumania was supposed to be this release date, and everyone kicked off about the CGI in Quantumania, saying, you know, it's too rushed, it's too done, you know, blah, 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 the effects team didn't have enough time. And I'm not the biggest person to come away and go like, the effects, awful. Yes, to have perfect effects is absolutely outstanding, like Spider-Verse animation, or animation we get in this, because the effects is absolutely awesome in this. But I personally thought the effects in this were outstanding. I thought they looked great. You see in Kamala's powers, Carol Danvers, in the way that she, you know, her whole body sort of glows, and when she's flying around and smashing through stuff, it all looked absolutely awesome. But if somebody comes out and says, oh, it was a little bit patchy here, I could have done a touch up there, I'm not going to argue enough, purely because I'm like, I had fun and it looked great. I can still happily go back to old Pokemons in black and white, in up, down, up, down. That animation still completely works for me. So when it comes to the animation, it doesn't have to be, if it is peak, awesome, or wicked, that's the cherry on top, we'll have a fun time. But I'm still going to have a fun time, and it looked awesome. So again, people that know effects a lot better than me, you might have a better opinion, but the effects in this film look bang on to me. So for me personally, I think the early reviewers got that one wrong. Speaking of like the effects and whatnot, how they integrated, we saw it in the trailer anyway, but how they integrated all three of the girls, who going around using their powers, and they were swapping and mismatching, and, you know, attack now, swap it flowed so awesome. It was when they first showed the trailers and we saw that was going to be one of the dynamics and one of the situations our heroes had to adapt to and evolve with, I was like, I'm so up for this. This seemed, instead of, you know, Peter Parker webbing along swinging, or, you know, Iron Man flying about, imagine they have to work out how to traverse things or go for a certain fight knowing if I attack you, I'm going to swap powers, so I need to, like a big chess game. And it was just really fun and well done out, and seeing the sequences when they're up against certain villains or whatnot, or certain people, certain members of the Kree, what's remaining of the Kree Empire. It fucking worked. It was so badass. Completely understand the people that said, You know, they're had enough of Marvel. Because, listen, right, I'm Mr. Optimistic. Most things get a 10 out of 10 for me as long as I have a bit of fun and I'll stuff my fat face with popcorn. And but I do get when people say they're getting a bit of Marvel fatigue and stuff, that they need to slow down. Me, personally, no. The more, the better for me. I'm more quantity over quality because, like, I love the world of comics anyway. So if the more Spider-Man or the more Captain America or Thor or Captain Marvel, whoever it is, the more of that I get, the more I'm happy. I'm like, I get it in my comic books, I get to see it on the TV, I get to see it at the cinema, I get it, and I'm just happy, right? That's a very selfish point of view, I admit that. But this doesn't feel like just another, it's another cog in the big MCU machine. It felt like an important film that's setting up, because as much as it did its job to determine who these characters are, what's going on with them now, what is this story now, it did a great job at setting up the future. A big future for a younger portion of our heroes. A big future for multiversal stuff coming in. And a future for the individual characters themselves. And yeah, it didn't just feel like a cog in the machine. It felt like an important film. I didn't go going, right, Marvels, we better get this one done, check it off. I was like, oh, the Marvels, this is fucking awesome. And I left feeling very refreshed and very happy and very, yeah, so I don't feel like it's just one that they've just chucked out. I definitely think the early critics were a bit harsh. But again, it's subjective and that's just my opinion. You go get tickets to the Marvels, you're going to have a fun, like a really fun time. And maybe not as funny as Ragnarok levels, but it's up there. Honestly, Kamala just, I fucking love you so much. Miss Marvel was never up there in terms of my favourite heroes. I've always liked her. I thought, yeah, she's cool. But Jesus Christ, the more I get this particular version of Miss Marvel, she's going up the ranks. Like, she's so good. All the girls, sorry, not to take away from all of them. They're all awesome. Sam Jackson, everybody, and whatnot. A few little surprises as well, which obviously I won't tell you about, spoiler-free review. But a couple of nice, fun surprises along the way. But yeah, fun. It looks great. It's a fun dynamic. It's a good story. Bit of a flawed villain, I will say that. So yeah, you're gonna have a great time. It feels like we're back to what the Marvel films were supposed to be. It was to go in a bit of escapism, go in this weird, wacky world of comics and heroes and now multiverses and stuff. And yeah, it's just fucking awesome. Don't think I could be extremely hypocritical and say, I want to say 10 out of 10 because I'm always I'll give it a solid 9 out of 10. I guess that's the fairest way to do it, seeing as I did have one criticism. I think if Dar Ben was done or written a little bit better, it would be a 10 out of 10. And by the way, I'm not saying, worst villain we've ever had, crap villain, get rid, don't care. And like I say, I know I'm being biased because the actress portraying it comes from a show that I adore so much. But yeah, they could have just written a little bit better. Hello, Optimus. So I'll go for a 9 out of 10. That's still a high score. And when, to be fair, I will be honest, when I first heard the announcement of the Marvels and saw it, before we got a trailer, I thought, I don't think this is going to be outstanding, but I think it'll be okay. And I just, like I said, I fell in love with it, and all right, watch the camera. Happy with where they took Carol and Captain Marvel and, you know, what she's going to like going forward. So happy to see Monica again. And of course, I'm so happy to see Miss Marvel again. But there we go, visuals. A solid 9 out of 10. You'll get Chris's thoughts in it. Like I said, I don't know if we're going to do the podcast, then go to the cinema. Or if we're going to go to the cinema, then do the podcast. We'll maybe do it after. Fuck knows. We'll see what Chris, because he'll be tired. I've took the day off from work, but he'll be finishing work, coming here, going to the cinema. So we'll see. But visuals, there we go. That is my spoiler-free review for the Marvels. Let me know what you think of my review. And anything you disagree on, please let me know in the comments below. I want to get your thoughts and opinions on the Marvels. What we got next up? What is next up for the MCU? Obviously, Loki's just finished. The Marvels, there's nothing this year. Is it What If? No, it's Echo. Is it Echo in January, February? So we'll talk about that. But visuals, thank you so much for watching. You guys are literally best. Keep being you and keep on keeping out.